Hey, what's up guys, this is Right Trigger. Today we are going to be unboxing, building, reviewing the Lamborghini Vision GT. Now, I'm sure it's in shot, yes it is, you guys can see I do have the Aston Martin Valkyrie out, and the reason why is I think pretty evident. If you look at these two cars, their appearance is very similar. The Lamborghini Vision GT is a car that I was very excited to pick up because I love Lamborghinis and I love this styling. It's crazy. You look at the back of the box, especially this picture right here. I'll try to zoom in on that for you guys so you can see it better. It's a very aggressive style. That is something that I look for. Like if it was a person who would rob you, you know what I mean? Which is what made me kind of fall in love with the Valkyrie. Now, one thing that I am noticing about the Vision GT that the Valkyrie kind of lacks is it does look like it has a lot of width. If you look at the Valkyrie, it's a very long car, so it gives the illusion that it's very slim. This Vision GT, on the other hand, it looks wide. And so that's something that I'm hyped to see the end result on, is if it keeps that thick base. Dang, I need to watch how I say things. This will be exciting to get into. I don't know if I already said it, so I'll say it again. 230 pieces, that's below average. This should be a breeze. Anyways, let's get into that first time lapse. Alright guys, we are now at the halfway point, and I've got quite a bit to say. I think this car is a very, very unique build, which is amazing because if you guys saw yesterday's video, which I literally recorded like 30 minutes ago, I had done the Audi e-tron Quattro. My biggest gripe with this car, even though I do love the way it looks, is that it is a very basic build. There is not very much that is unique to it. It's the same song and dance that we've seen with many, many cars. This car, on the other hand, is extremely different. You can already tell by where we are at the halfway point. The back half and the front half are equally completed, which usually the way that this goes is you would have a chassis and you would start the back half, and then in the second bag you would finish the front half. With this car, because there is no chassis, that's not where we are. We've just basically completed what would be the chassis or the foundation of the car, which if you've seen any of my other videos, you would know that's something that I applaud every time. In one of my recent videos with the G-Wagon, this car has no chassis at all. And I had talked about in that video the Urus, the Bronco, and that's even reminding me that the car that I just brought out, the Valkyrie, no chassis. That's something that I love. I love seeing cars that don't have chassis because it feels like you are making the car. You're not being given these predetermined pieces that, you know, you use, and they are what makes that part of the car. It's you're making that part of the car. I don't really know how to explain into words exactly what I'm trying to say, but what I'm trying to say is when there's no chassis equals a lot of fun. What I really did like about this is these two, the front and the back half, are never coming apart ever. If I pull this, if I give it a good amount of force, I'll break something, but they're not coming apart. And the reasoning for that, let me make sure everything's okay. I did apply a lot of pressure to a lot of different parts. The front section and the back section do snap in place like normal with studs, but then, let me see if you guys have any chance of seeing that. Maybe I can zoom in and post and you can see it. There is a Technic pole piece, the one that looks like a cross. Again, I am Lego illiterate. I don't know what these pieces are called, but if you understand what I'm saying, thank you. There's that piece going directly through the middle, just holding these two pieces together like a piece of rebar in concrete. I was thinking that we were going to have another hinge system for a hood like we see on the Mercedes-AMG G-Wagon and the SLS 63. However, it doesn't appear to be the case. This is on a hinge system, but it's just so that it can connect on. I think if I apply a bit of pressure, we may see something like that. It may actually pop up and you can see like an engine bay, but I'm not seeing much here. This could be where the driver sits. Maybe he'll sit somewhere in here and you just put that back just like we see on other cars. The Jaguar, whatever this thing is called, this part lifts up, you put the driver in, and then you can close it right back down. So I'm theorizing currently that may be the case with this, where you just lift this bit up, you put the driver in, you close it back down. I love this build. It's fun. It's very unique. It's a stark contrast to the Audi Quattro that I just did. We're gonna get back into this. I've been talking for 4 minutes, which is much longer than I usually do at these halfway points. So let's just get right into it. The Lamborghini Vision GT is completed, just about as wide as I was hoping it would be. In the halfway point, I did talk about there not being a chassis. That made it a very fun build. The first half of the build was much better than the second half, just because the second half, that's when we start to see a lot of these stickers. We do have a full page where you just put on a bunch of stickers. I've said it before, I'll say it again, not a fan whatsoever. We do need more printed pieces. I understand that they have in the past talked about wanting to do more printed pieces, but this is what they're able to do, but they don't give like a bunch of answers as to why that is. But if we could just, I don't like the stickers. The most devious and the most unforgivable is in the back here. You will see that on the, I guess, spoiler, the black portion, there are these little red parts. Those are stickers. That's crazy, dude. Not a fan at all. A lot of this back half feels very flimsy. I'm not a fan of the way that everything goes together. There's not very much stability. These exhausts will just rise right up, and if you touch that metal piece, it does have a tendency to want to move. The spoiler in and of itself is multiple different pieces that are individual. Don't really like that. The middle piece is just connected to right around here, and those are also individual pieces that are flimsy and want to move on their own. If I were to grab it from back here, I would drop it easily, and I'm afraid that later when showing somebody, because sometimes we do have people over, they see the collection, it's literally in our kitchen. It's inevitable that people will be like, oh my God, what is this? You know, because time has passed, being forgetful, grab it by the back, uh-oh, there goes the entire Vision GT, and my guest feels like they're responsible because they had curiosity. You know what I mean? I do have other cars out, as you guys can see, and these are just kind of cars that the Vision GT reminds me of. The Valkyrie, I was talking about how it feels very thin, and then I remembered there was a car that was very similar to the Valkyrie that gets a bit of that thickness back. I think this might be the Solus, but the McLaren Solus is just, you know, you look at the silhouette from a top-down view, it's very similar, except it does have more of that the thick sides. It feels like it takes up a lot of room, and I like that a lot. And that's kind of something that the McLaren Solus has in common with the Vision GT, except I would say that the Solus, at least its top-down silhouette, is more appealing. My biggest problem with the Vision GT was the lack of detail, and although I do not appreciate having to put on a million stickers, I will say that the Vision GT at least is more visually appealing in terms of like the livery or the livery. I don't know how you say that word. I've only ever read it in video games, but the detail of the outer or the exterior, whatever, it's very nice to look at. It's very pretty, and I especially like that kind of military green with the black and gold accents everywhere. Very, very nice. The only other reason why I have these cars out is just because they are race cars. Although this is a form of F1, it still feels different to F1 enough that I can see some similarity in the way that these cars look, so that's why I brought that out as well, just to kind of have some commonality between cars, and to just kind of show that I feel like I've been down this road a couple of times, and every single time I really do enjoy it. If I am correct, none of these cars have a chassis piece. Yeah, none of these cars have a chassis piece. So these are cars that I enjoy putting together, is the ones that don't have a chassis, and I feel like it's most common in SUVs and cars that are in different race genres, not NASCAR, not F1, but, you know, different types. I can't remember what they're called, to be honest. This is clearly a GT car. This is clearly a GT car. The Aston Martin Valkyrie, that's, I don't know. This, I remember that I can't remember what it's called, but it's a big, big deal. The build process, like I said, in the first bag was fun, but the second bag, this is flimsy. I'm not a fan. I would say that there needs to be more pieces that grab everything and just give them a little bit more stability. And this isn't the only car that has that problem. If I look at the Valkyrie, one of the most annoying pieces is these side parts, which are extremely easy to accidentally touch. They're supposed to be flared out like that, but it's extremely easy to just grab them and put them right back in, making it seem even thinner. Making it seem even thinner than it is. So a lot of these cars that look like this silhouette do suffer from that, but I would say that this one suffers from it more with how many individual pieces move on that back half. Now we're gonna get into probably the biggest pro of this car. This is something that I don't think I've seen before, but if I have, forgive me. The driver, you know, I had a theory that the way that we were going to do it was we were gonna have a hinge system with an engine bay, but that is not what this was. So to take the driver in and out, you lift this portion, and then you can press on the front, and that will go right up, and your driver just lays right on in there, which is so nice. There's no studs connecting the driver. They just literally lay right down in this little gray cutout section that's made for them, and you put them right in there. You go ahead and set this part down, and you go ahead and set this part down and connect the studs, and nice. There is one car that I think has a similar feature, and that should be the Dragster, which I think is out of shot. Yeah, it's up here, you guys can't see it, but I think it had a similar way of doing things. That car's big, I don't feel like bringing it down. It's cool, I love the way that this looks, and I'm getting to a point where I have so many cars that look very similar that I kind of want to group them together on the shelves rather than having them sporadically placed. Cars that look like this, I feel like look best when they are next to each other. I feel like I've been talking forever. I think it's been about 8.5 minutes. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next LEGO Speed Champions build. Peace.
Hey yo, what that rock say?